Hello, this is Tom Brevoort. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. You are listening to one of the hosts here for this episode tonight. Hi, President Ray. Welcome. And I am very pleased to be presenting this kind of new-ish episode for you. It's one that we haven't done before, technically. It's a KHONSHU'S Relics, so this is due to the fact of a first quarter moon in the sky, and we'll be looking at Moon Knight in cosplay, in particular loonies who like to cosplay as Moon Knight. As I mentioned, I'm your host, Ray, and joining me tonight is no stranger. He is a co-host and producer of Capes on the Couch, where comics get counselling, a friend of the show. He's been a guest on previous episodes before. He's an Omega level loony. He is the man of 1,000 voices in our audio serial adventure, The Hunt for Khonshu's Golden Scepter. He's a Moon Knight fanfic writer, and he is also a Moon Knight cosplayer. Get that all on a receipt, I tell ya. This is Anthony Sytko. Welcome, Anthony. How are you going?
I'm doing fantastic, Ray. Yeah, that would just about fit on a CVS receipt.
It's a lengthy one. I think it's the longest introduction I've had, but you are very highly appreciated. Did I even say it? Hang on, let me just have a look. And of course, you are a Patroni. My gosh, you are one of our value Patronis.
Yes, I am.
As well. So, Anthony, it's one of the longest, but it's really good to have you, Anthony, and really thank you so much.
Daenerys Targaryen, eat your heart out.
Off the bat, just with how much you've contributed to ITK, being a fine voice in the ITK community, such an avid Moon Knight fan. It's really fun to have you on. But we're going to talk about something slightly different. Maybe many people don't know about this other side of you.
Well, it's not something I've really hidden. And, certainly at least amongst the Moon Knight community, I always appreciate this aspect of it. And whenever I get to tell my stories, and I think I've mentioned it previously on this show, and I certainly have mentioned it on my show as well, Capes on the Couch, about cosplaying as Moon Knight. And looking forward to getting back into it once we are, allowed to leave our house and interact with other people again.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I've got a whole slew of questions I want to ask you. I mean, they just kind of rattled off my head as I was preparing the prompt sheet for us. So it's quite interesting to get your take on it, and it's good to hear that you're going to. Like, I didn't know whether you were like a casual cosplayer or whether you kind of cosplay every so often, but I guess we'll find out as we go. Before we continue, loonies, I must give a shout out, and I'm shouting out straight at Anthony here. He's right in front of me. A big gracious thank you to the Patronis such as Anthony, and you too can be a Patroni if you just check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. There's a lot of incentives and bonuses there. You'll be credited for contributing to the show, and a huge thank you, plus a lot of other things as well. So a big shout out to Dustin, Justin, Wayne, Jordan, Josh, James, Russell, and of course Anthony for all your support. Also as well, a big shout out to Hello Headphones, empowering the gamers to play at their best, and Dreamland Comics, Schaumburg, Illinois, the superhero superstore. Now, Anthony, I do dub you the Omega level loony, because you do have you have all of the issues, right, of Moon Knight?
I do indeed. As far as I can tell, I have every single issue of all of his solo runs. And then I have probably about 95% of his appearances at this point. Okay. Anytime he's in a comic, literally referenced in a comic sometimes.
Yep. Okay.
So
Okay, 95%. So 5%. A slim chance that you'll visit Dreamland Comics then.
I don't know if I'm going all the way out to Illinois, but if I'm ever in the area, if I'm ever in Schaumburg, Illinois, I will definitely stop by Dreamland Comics to say hello.
Excellent. Well, no, they're doing really well, and as usual, I'll give them a shout out towards the end about the discounts that you, the loonies, can get by checking out their promo codes. Anyway, so Anthony, mate, a huge welcome. Now, like before we kind of go into it as well, I just want to kind of canvass for loonies, new loonies, or people that are coming new to the show, or who may not know your show, Capes on the Couch. Could you please tell us a little bit about the show, what you do, what you cover, format, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. So Capes on the Couch is a podcast. Excuse me. Capes on the Couch is a podcast, and we are approaching our 100th episode. And we discuss the psychiatric and mental health issues of comic book characters. My co-host and best friend is a board-certified psychiatrist, and so each episode we cover a character or a theme, and we break down that character's issues, typically 3 issues per character, and we discuss their various neuroses, any disorders that they have, if they are claimed in universe to have a particular mental disorder. We'll look at how realistically they are portrayed, and then we offer treatment options both in universe for the character and out of universe for a real person who may have some of these disorders or various issues. And then at the end we role play a little skit wherein my co-host Doc Issues plays the psychiatrist and I play the patient. Mm-hmm. And we sort of role play a little therapy session for the character. And sometimes they're funny, sometimes they are serious. As I said, we're coming up on 100 episodes and we're doing an award show. So cool. If you go to our website, capesonthecouch.live, and you go to capesonthecouch.live/nominees, you can go and vote on a variety of categories. Funniest skit, best pop culture reference, best Marvel episode, worst vocal performance by yours truly, because there's been some accents I've done on the show that just you listen, you go, what the hell is that even supposed to be? So, cool. So it's a fun thing. We're doing a mailbag. We have a Patreon as well, and Ray, you. Much like I am a patron of your show, you are a patron of mine. So Absolutely. You go to patreon.com/capesonthecouch, and you can subscribe at a variety of levels and get some additional exclusive content, some uncensored stuff, some early access. And I have mentioned it once or twice on the show, on our show, but I'll tell your folks here, if we hit $100 a month in Patreon subscribers, Doc and I will do a monthly film commentary, much like Riff Tracks or Mystery Science Theater 3000, where we will mock really bad comic book movies, and goodness knows that there are plenty of those to choose from. So we're hoping that we get enough patrons to make that a worthwhile endeavor. So you could check that out.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I mean, I know that you've hit some targets already because you do. From time to time, some reviews on trades, right? So that's
yes, we do bi-weekly trade paperback reviews. Mm-hmm. Generally bi-weekly, provided of course we can fit it into our schedule. I know trying to fit things into schedule is difficult. You understand that as a fellow podcaster. So sometimes it's every 3 weeks or so, but yeah. But yeah, we cover a variety of old comics, new comics, whatever is on Comixology Unlimited. Basically, is what we're.
Yeah. I mean, we'll I'll definitely add in not only the links in the show notes for the show, but also for the awards. So Loonies, really urge you to check it out. That's really really fun stuff. I mean, it's fun, but it's also highly educational and insightful, I think, as well. Delving into it, and it's fair to say that. There's a bucket load of superheroes out there that have some sort of issue. So no surprises, of course, that Moon Knight features in it. That's how I kind of came across you guys, and then I discovered that you were a big Moon Knight fan. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we did Moon Knight very, very early. We did, I think he was our 4th episode, because right off the bat, when Doc and I were talking about the show, I was like, well, obviously we're going to do Moon Knight because A, he's one of my favorite characters, and B, he has a plethora of issues to choose from.
Yes.
So Moon Knight was such an early episode that the skit was improvised. That's how early it was. The first handful of episodes, our skits were improvised because I was trying to just rely on my ability to riff on, topics and stuff. And then we realized that that Doc wasn't playing as well as he wanted to, and also it was harder for me to react in character. Yep. So we said, let's just write it all out so we can be thorough and we can. It just comes across a lot better. So I've always wanted to revisit Moon Knight and do a thorough written version.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it's quite quick thinking. If I didn't realize that was improvised that early on, so that's pretty cool. I always found quite interesting. I think I heard it or I saw on one of your videos about how you actually write it, and I find that because you do write it, you do write it with Doc, right? It's a really kind of organic thing between yourselves. It's not like you're just writing it out and you're passing on the scripts along. So that's right. I was listening to you guys discussing it, and you're kind of going through it and you're developing it as you go along.
Well, it's about trying to figure out what the character would do. You're trying to get in their head, so to speak, they're often collaborative. Sometimes Doc will write the whole thing. Sometimes I'll write the whole thing. It depends on scheduling. But, we really try and do our best to do justice to the character. But it also depends on the character. Some of them lend themselves to a particular style of skit. Like I knew the Tick was not going to be a serious, dramatic, gritty, heavy episode. That was going to be, all right, the Tick is a moron who has the attention span of a flea, so let's just run with that. And I wrote that whole skit in probably about 20 minutes because it just came so easily to me. Yeah. And then Doc read it and he goes, yeah, this seems about right. So that's a favorite of mine for humor.
Yeah.
But then Roy Harper was like super. I mean, we cried writing it. We cried recording it. Roy has gone through so much trauma in his life, so we run the gamut.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Whenever I listen to the skits, I always have kind of that in the back of my mind, and I always so I listen to when you're playing as a character, like what you kind of throw at doc issues, so to speak, because a lot of it seems like, I know it's not improv at this stage, but it seems like you do probe a lot of you see how far you can kind of push doc issues, which I think is great, and he always kind of reacts. And so I always imagine in my head, so Anthony's passed the script over to Doc, and he's gone, okay, so how am I going to react to this? And so he obviously writes it, but he kind of delivers it in a very natural way. Like it's good that it's amazing that it's a script. Nothing to take away from Doc's acting abilities. It's pretty good. So
well, he reads it and reacts like he would normally do that as a psychiatrist, and Doc is certainly, he's got his personality. Like I said, we've been best friends for 25 years at this point. So I know his personality pretty well. And so we play off of each other well, and it gives me an opportunity to flex some acting muscles, some voice acting. We just did Killer Croc, and so that one took a lot of figuring out to try and get that guttural sound. We did Baphomet, and I did an Irish accent for that one, which I don't know if you're friends with. I Understood That reference.
The I know of them on there. Yeah.
They're Irish, so I just sent them, and so I said, please, let me tell me how good I did. So they said that they're going to re-record the dialogue in their authentic Irish accent and send it to me. So I was like, all right, we're gonna put that up on the show. So it's fun, but that's the joy of podcasting, is that's how we met, and
Yeah,
So if we ever do Moon Knight again, we're definitely gonna, or we do anything Moon Knight related, I'm gonna invite you and bring you on. And certainly, if we do any Australian characters, if we do Captain Boomerang, if we cover an episode on Captain Boomerang, I'm calling you, and you're gonna play Captain Boomerang.
Oh no! Look, if there's an Australian character, what we can do, Anthony, I'd love to do it. You play the Aussie, I'll play the American. I'd love to switch accents. Let's see how it all goes. Could be a train wreck, but it'll be a lot of fun. Anyway.
It'll be a fun train wreck if that is such a thing.
Yeah. And also, just finally, before we move on, I just want to say as well, like you're saying that you know Doc Issues for such a long time. That's a lot of the reason why I enjoyed it as well, because you guys don't mind slinging shit at each other. I find it hilarious, but you only get that when you know someone so well. So I think that's really cool, and you guys have a really good rapport. So listeners, definitely check out Capes on the Couch. It's worth a listen. And if you liked, also if you've actually only heard of Anthony, perhaps through our audio serial drama. Then that is just a little taster of what Anthony does, because he does the skits every time in
yes,
Capes on the Couch.
That is right. I am the voice of Senor Bob. Sí, cabrón. That is my role. I am Senor Bob.
That's it as well. So catch Anthony on Senor Bob. Incidentally, that episode 13, will be coming out hopefully by the end of this month. That's a cracker. I've got Anthony just waiting on one other person to contribute, and it's all guns a blazing there. So very cool fun.
Literally guns a blazing. Based on the script.
Also, Anthony, before, I guess, again, just a few other things, just want to cover, get your take on anything of note that you're reading over the past, say, week that you'd like to give a shout out, recommendations?
I just went to my local comic shop, I guess about 2 weeks ago, and I hadn't been there for like a month. So I had quite a stack to pick up on my pull list. Even though I don't have that many books on my pull list, I have been thoroughly enjoying the FireFly series from Boom Studios. Greg Pak has been writing that now. It's about, I think they're 18 issues in. Okay. And I mean, if you're not a fan of the show, I think it's still an enjoyable comic, but for those of us who enjoyed the show and the movie, he really gets the characters. And so reading the stories, you can hear them in your head.
Nice. When
they're speaking. I'm not enamored with the current artist who's been working on it for the last at least 6 or 7 issues. It's not they're my style. It's not my style.
What's it kind of like? What is it?
It's very rough and sketchy, which, I mean, I can see why they went with this particular artist and why it sort of fits the aesthetic and the story that they're going for. It's just me personally. When it started, it was a little more defined and a little more refined, the look, and then I don't remember the artist's name, and it's at this point, like I said, I'm 18 issues in, so I'm not going to drop it. Yeah. But because I like the characters and I do like the story, but it's just one of those things where I don't know. It's not my thing. Art can turn me off of a book. I dropped the current ongoing Star Wars after the first issue because I said nope. It was very and I love Charles Soule's writing. I would love to get him on the show because I loved his run on She-Hulk. Spoiler alert! I know we're going to talk. I've met him at Comic-Con. Yeah, we didn't get an opportunity. I didn't get an opportunity to interview him. I would love to have him on the show, but no, I've never had an opportunity to interview Charles Soule. But like I said, I loved his work on She-Hulk, and I know we're going to talk about her briefly for a spell. And his run on Daredevil is fantastic, and basically everything he writes is just top-notch stuff. But the art in the Star Wars book, I was just like, no, I can't. It was very. It wasn't Greg Land, but it had that air of I'm just basically tracing faces, like overly done, overly realistic faces just turns me off the artwork. None of them had porn faces, so it was better than Greg Land, but still, and I'm also reading Donny Cates' Thor, which is just, as you would say, cracking fun. Yeah. And so that's enjoyable. Fantastic Four.
Oh, nice. Dan Slott,
I haven't.
I love him.
I've picked up the last several volumes of Fantastic Four, and it's always interesting to see where different writers take the characters. I got the first issue of Empire back when that was, a thing, and then I forgot to pick up the rest of the event book, so I have no idea what the hell happens. And then obviously I'm picking up the current Avengers run with the Age of Khonshu. So,
what is your take on that?
And Hawkeye Freefall.
I
got the end of Hawkeye Freefall, which was a great short series.
Yeah,
thoroughly enjoyed that one.
Yeah, Matt Rosenberg. Really good writer. I think he'd suit. I think I've only read issue 1 of that, but I think he suits the tone of Hawkeye. I guess taking a leaf out of the Matt Fraction run.
Definitely. It's definitely the Clint down on his luck, screwing everything up and can't get out of his own way, which we talk about in our Hawkeye episode, because we did an episode just on the Matt Fraction run of Hawkeye. But back to Age of Khonshu. I'm I like it.
Okay, that's a really good way.
Yeah, you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I'm hoping that the payoff is worth it, because I have no idea what the hell is going on, and I don't really know what this whole thing of Khonshu needing to take over everything to save everyone is all about. And he's basically destroying, New York City and the entire Earth just so he can beat Mephisto, and they need the Star Brand, which admittedly I hadn't been reading the Aaron run prior to the Age of Khonshu. I think I picked up maybe 1 or 2 issues prior, so I'm sort of out of the loop on that. I know that there's the Star Brand child, and Tony and Carol are fighting over how to take care of her and protect her, and apparently she's important to Khonshu somehow, and I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Just seeing Moon Knight go through all that stuff where he had to fight everybody and beat up all of his friends and take their powers, because now all of a sudden he's the Moon guy, and Uru is a moon rock, so that means he can control Mjolnir, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Pardon my language, but
I just see it as all. I mean, like I'm. As you say, I like it. I'm just going to enjoy the ride. I've tuned off all my senses for, nitpicking any sort of canon, because what I essentially want to have in my head canon is that it will just kind of come and go, and it'll be just like a fun tale. There'll be no bearings later on. It will just, it's essentially just, for me, it's an Avengers book. So, manhandle Moon Knight if you want. He'll come out of it. We'll get a new solo series, and everything's going to be, I think, swept under the rug, I reckon. I mean, not only Moon Knight, a lot of characters with volumes and titles, writers do what they want, and they'll forget certain things. And I think when the new series comes for Moon Knight, this won't have much of a bearing. I think it's just kind of like a jolly little adventure that happens in the Avengers, and I don't think there'll be anything with Khonshu to it. I don't think people are concerned that the TV show will pick up from this. I don't think the TV show will be based on any of this. I think they'll be looking more at the classic mold. Yeah, they'll be doing the street level stuff. This is just like a fun little side thing that happens. But yeah. Anyway, I mean, Jason Aaron is very, very smart, and he comes up with really neat ideas, or ideas that you have at the back of your head, and he fully realizes them. Like having Moon Knight as the Ghost Rider, the spirit of vengeance, because they're both vengeful kind of avatars, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, that's
cool. It's not all bad. There is some cool stuff.
It's fun.
The Moon Knight, Moon Knight with the flames and everything like that's just a cool image.
Yeah.
But
It's
the
just-
story, like I said, I'm waiting for the payoff.
Yeah. Oh, look, I've maybe resigned the fact that even if there isn't a payoff, whatever, it will, it will be a story, and it's enjoyable. It has its merits, but
The completionist in me is buying the issues anyway, so
yeah. Oh gosh,
I might as well read them.
Yeah, I was like wondering, should I get them or not? And after reading the first 2 issues, I thought, well, I might get the trade then. We'll see how we go. But, I'm no Amiga level loony Anthony, so that's definitely in your realm. Anyway, let's move on quickly. White noise, no news. Loonies, surprise, surprise. But I just wanted to mention that big news, I think, and I think you'd be quite excited by it as well, Anthony. Speaking of Charles Soule, Tatiana Maslany announced as Jennifer Walters for the She-Hulk TV show. Now, this is cool. I put this in because we surely will be getting some more news about Moon Knight. We got actually more news about Miss Marvel as well, the directors. I unfortunately don't have the names with me, but they've been announced as well, so that's pretty cool. Casting will probably be announced later on. But Moon Knight, what do you think of Tatiana?
I have not seen Orphan Black myself.
Yeah.
I know. I listen. I have a 17-month-old. You've got a young kid. There's only so much time between. I full-time job.
Yep.
Podcasting and everything. And my wife would be very annoyed if I just spent all of my time focusing on.
I mean, to be
anything but her.
to be honest, Orphan Black. I only watched like the first 2, maybe got into season 3. All this was pre-Finn. And then since then, I haven't watched anything. So, yeah.
So you get it. So you absolutely get it. It's one of those shows I'm sure I'll get around to. So I've heard nothing but great things. And listen, if it's important to me that they embody the character acting wise, I can forgive a little of the aesthetics as long as they get the vibe. And what I hope is that they make her, fun and no nonsense, take no shit. I would love to see some legal stuff. I personally think, we were just talking about Charles Soule. I think his run on She-Hulk would make a fantastic story just because it is self-contained. It allows for, the addition of other side characters, Patsy Walker, who I know we saw in Daredevil, but she's a big part of it. And I think you can combine the fun and the legal side, and I would like to see at least some fourth wall acknowledgement, maybe not a full breaking of the fourth wall, but Jen is a character that knows she's in a comic book and can certainly have some fun with that. And we did an episode on her too. So
she's a very interesting character, indeed as well. I've just started to read the John Byrne run on Marvel Unlimited. I haven't read the Charles Soule run. I'd like to read that as well. I'm going to work my way through it because I'm getting amped for this TV show.
Yeah, and the Dan Slott run is also very, very fun.
Yeah,
very super fun.
Yep.
Love the Dan Slott run. So I'm hoping that there's a combination of the Charles Soule and the Dan Slott. Fun, lawyery, a little bit of ass kicking.
Yep.
And if it leads to A-Force,
ooh, that'd be pretty cool. If it leads to any other affiliation with any other characters in the MCU, surely they'll have Mark Ruffalo there, of course.
I would hope that he would make at least an appearance in the show because you kind of need him to give her the blood transfusion. So.
Yeah, in the pilot, hopefully, not dissimilar to maybe Nick Fury and Maria Hill turning up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., something like that. But even actually more intimate because this is Disney Plus. It's literally Marvel Studios' back door or backyard. So very exciting indeed. I think she'll do a great job of it. She has a huge range. Anthony, Orphan Black, the premise, she plays multiple characters like clones, all different personalities. So she can do drama, action, she can do comedy as well. She's got good timing. And she's got the charm as well, which I think is really important. So looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll get something with Moon Knight by way of casting soon. We've already got the showrunners and the head writer. So
from what I understand, all the scripts are done.
What?
Like,
really?
I thought I read somewhere that the head writer said that the writer's room for Moon Knight had, closed, and he had a bunch of. This was like at the beginning of COVID that they had finished all the scripts, because it's only going to be like, I think 8 episodes or so. It's
Okay.
It's going to be a short run, as are all of the series on Disney Plus. So they finished the script. So as far as I know, from the way that I read it, the scripts are done. They just have to actually, but they finished it, and then COVID hit. So it's kind of put a bit of a pause on the production.
Yeah.
And I think they're working on getting the directors, and I'm sure that in the midst of COVID, they're still working on casting. They just don't have any announcements yet. But again, with Tatiana's announcement, I'm hoping that we can get something soon for Moon Knight. WandaVision, they've basically confirmed that's coming out at the end of the year.
This year,
I
yeah.
know.
Heck,
I know they just went back into production for the rest of Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I understand had been like 80% done before COVID hit anyway.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, it didn't reveal much, but I saw a footage.
Instagram
of,
pic with Anthony Mackie with the cigar and everything.
No. I saw video of what's his name? Scott Eastwood. Is that him? No, it's not him. It's Russell. The son of Kurt Russell, whoever plays U.S. Agent, he. Yeah, I saw him in an action scene. So apparently he uses the weapon in a lot more, the shield in a lot more of an aggressive manner, which is what we want to see with U.S. Agent. So that looks pretty cool.
Yes. Looking forward to that.
So yeah, I can't wait to see that. So let's hope, Loonies, keep our eyes peeled. Let's all help each other.
Oliver Jackson Cohen.
Yeah,
Fingers
I
crossed.
think it'd be good. I think he would be great as well. It would be a boon if they get him. But I have got my money on either someone that's relatively unknown, or someone in the TV realm already. I think. I don't know. We'll see.
No Shia LaBeouf.
No, Shia LaBeouf, please. So anyway, Loonies, let's help each other. Anyone with information, just post it up on our group and on the page, and let's get this kind of groundswell happening. Let's get the interest back, because there has been a bit of a lull with the pandemic. Anyway, Anthony, why don't we take a quick, short break, and when we come back, let's get into it. Let's get into I forgot to mention, it's KHONSHU'S Relics. So this is our segment, KHONSHU'S Relics, but in this instance, we'll be doing cosplaying Moon Knight I've got here. So, Anthony, I will look forward to hearing all your tales after this break. See you then.
Hello, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Dr. Issues.
And we're hosts of Capes on the Couch, the podcast where comics get counseling.
Superheroes don't always get to go home happy. That's where we come in.
We offer psychiatric and mental health analysis of comic book characters.
So check us out at capesonthecouch.live and across all social media platforms at Capes on the Couch.
Yes, welcome back, Looney listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 164, and let me paint you a picture. It is a first quarter moon. I'm outside. I'm basking in the moonlight. I've got some crescent darts in my hand, and joining me on the rooftop here, on some deck chairs, I don't know, is Anthony Sytko. How are you going, Anthony?
It's going great.
Anyway, we have got Anthony here. We just had a really cool chat before the break, but we got you here, Anthony, obviously to talk about your cosplaying, in particular cosplaying Moon Knight, but I just want to expand on that with cosplaying in general. So I'm just going to kick off with, I wonder, are you a regular cosplayer?
I wouldn't say regular. When I go to New York Comic Con, and obviously this year it's not happening, but I was a regular at New York Comic Con for I think about 8 years or so, 8 or 9 years. I've been to the last Comic Cons, and I like to wear comic geeky type stuff. last year, my wife and I brought on one day, my wife and I brought our then 5-month-old son, 5 or 6-month-old son, there, and we went as Ash, Misty, and baby Pikachu. And so that was a lot of fun. But for me, cosplaying was always something that I had considered, but because of who I am as a person, it wasn't the sort of thing that I wanted to do unless I was going to do it, and I would go to Comic-Con every year and I would see people just wear, like a hoodie of the character. And like, that's fine. I'm not slagging that at all. But if I wanted to cosplay as a character, like I wanted to be authentic about it. I wanted to do it seriously and I wanted to take it seriously. And I wanted to have a body that would fit what the character should look like. So that was always a thing that was in the back of my mind. And then, so I know we've got it in the prompt sheet, but it just sort of segues into,
for sure.
Where I was going with it. And then Declan, the Declan Shalvey Warren Ellis Moon Knight run came out, and the redesigned costume, the black, black and white with the accents and everything came about. And I saw that and I said, that I can do.
Yeah.
So
hang on, sorry, Anthony. So just when you were saying, okay, so you went to cons previously and you saw people cosplaying, but you saw people maybe cosplaying with minimal stuff, maybe with a shirt and minimal. But what made you want to take it a step further and actually cosplay? Like, I mean, was there something like going out to the cons year in, year out, just going, I'm starting to dig seeing these people and appreciating those big over the top costumes, or was it
some of it is that just the aesthetic of it, just getting to say like that's really cool, like appreciating the handiwork that goes into crafting some of the costumes, authenticity, and I mean we talked about it briefly earlier with like the voice acting and everything that I do, but I love acting. And so the idea of getting to it's a really specific form of playing dress up and getting to act. And so for me, the thought of cosplaying was just, it's another version of acting for me. Like, because if I was going to cosplay, then I wanted to play the character.
Yeah, so you are in character.
Become them. So
right.
I'm in character.
Cool.
Like as Moon Knight. And I've interacted with several people who cosplayed in character, and it was super fun. I think my first or second con I went to, I had a good conversation with somebody who was in character as Deadpool, and so that was an interesting experience, as you can well imagine. And so just the idea, like I said, of cosplaying just always intrigued me from a visual perspective, from an acting perspective. So, and it's something that I am going to do, as I said, again, once we can gather in a group of more than 5 people.
Yeah.
I know you Aussies have COVID under control, but America, we're just, we've got people going into Target starting, like a mass mob of 20 or 30 people going into Target with no masks on, saying, take your masks off, be free. This is the shackles of, they're trying to enslave you with this. And I was just like,
we've got the same here as well. And we've got footage of people having parties like, 100 strong or whatever, and you see it. And so, it's still happening here. It's just, we're just smaller scale, but it's still kind of rampant everywhere. Well, we haven't, Melbourne down south is all masks, and they've only got 2 hours outside they're allowed, and they've got curfews, stuff like that. So, but that would be that'd be quite interesting just to interact, I guess, with people at cons as well when they see you, especially in character. I mean, thank God no one's dressed up as Bushmen. Otherwise, we've just got to keep you guys apart. You don't want Anthony coming out. Yeah,
I've run into several Moon Knight cosplayers, and and certainly after the Shalvey run, even more so. it's always interesting, like I said, to see the different takes on how they portray the white. White. Everybody always does white. I've never seen anybody in like a silvery sort of thing, even though originally speaking, that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be silver, as you and I well know.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just always it's fascinating and fun because Moon Knight is not a character that gets cosplayed a lot. So you run into maybe 2 of them every major convention, whereas you could swing a dead cat and hit 3 Deadpools and 7 Harley Quinns. So
and Jokers, I'm sure as well. But I think the TV show will go a long way in, I think, raising that profile. So you probably see a lot more Moon Knights there. With people actually reacting to you as well, like there's that anecdote that you mentioned, alluded to earlier about Declan Shalvey. And for those that haven't heard about it, like he got a photo with you, right? Because he wanted...
Yes. So this, like I said, was right after I went to New York Comic Con, which was, God, I think at this point it was probably like 2013 or so. 2013, 2014, whenever it was that his run was finishing up. And so it was like this, I think it was Saturday. That's right. I went on Saturday as Moon Knight. And so I went up to his table, and I had previously gone up to him and I got him to sign a bunch of the books, and I was like, I'm going to come see you again on Saturday. And I got a bit of a surprise, and Declan is such a really sweet guy. And so Saturday I come over to the table, and as soon as I'm walking up, he sees me coming, and he's like, I'm super excited to
he doesn't know it's you though, right? Or he does?
No, I mean, no, he doesn't remember me, by face.
Yeah.
But he's super excited to see somebody as his Moon Knight coming towards him. And he comes out from behind the table. And like I said, he's such a sweet guy in his Irish accent. He's like, would you mind if I got a picture with you? And I was like, absolutely. So, and he's like, would you mind pretending to break my wrist? So I bent his wrist back, and he's like writhing down on the ground. He's like, no. And so I posted it to Twitter, and I tagged him in it, and then it got retweeted a bunch of times by a bunch of pros. So it was super fun. And ever since then, he always remembers me, whenever because he's at New York Comic Con every year, and every time I come over, because I always inevitably have some book for him to sign, and he's always like, you're the guy that cosplayed as me, right? And I said, yes.
Oh, really? Nice.
My Moon Knight. So he remembers me. Like I said, just a really, really awesome guy. And since then, I've seen a handful of people cosplay as the Declan Shalvey Moon Knight, but like I said, that costume was new. This was he had only been out for like 6 months, I think, at New York Comic. He had just recently announced that Shalvey was leaving after issue 6, so this was like the first New York Comic Con where you could cosplay as that version of Moon Knight. Everybody previously was, if they cosplayed as Moon Knight at all, we're doing the all white.
The all white, yeah. So you got in pretty quick with that. That would be memorable, indelible for Shelby to actually see that. That'd be quite impressive. I remember Charles Soule saying he was quite impressed that he went to a con and someone cosplayed as Blind Spot from Daredevil. And, and he was really touched. He was going, wow. Like, I think he tweeted it going, I can't believe someone's cosplayed a character I created already. And so I can imagine Declan Shalvey, although he didn't create Moon Knight, the costume, just to see it in its physical form would have been a real buzz for him.
He got super excited when Moon Knight was in the Spider-Man cartoon, and it was that costume. It was his costume, and he was just like, oh, I remember him tweeting about it. He was like, oh my God, like they're going with that version of the costume. So, and
the Marvel Legends Hasbro figure was based on the latest Moon Knight. Well, the Moon Knight one is based on the Shalvey one, and I remember Shalvey retweeting the box because it had his artwork, I think, at the back. and he goes, I can't believe they're using.
I haven't picked up the Marvel Legends yet. I see everybody in your group as everybody's going, oh, my Walgreens has this figure. Walgreens has it. So
yeah. Oh, that one. Yeah,
I haven't had an opportunity to go out to Walgreens yet and look for them.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for mine as well. Hopefully I'll get it. And I don't know. It's hard to tell. Might lose it in transit. But yeah, so with the costume itself, as you're saying, relatively new when Declan Shelby came out. His series came out with Warren Ellis. There'd probably be a lot of Mr. Knight, I think, cosplayers these days as well.
Yes,
relatively.
I've seen several of those.
Yeah, I mean, and it's deceptively. I guess it's easier to do, but it's still hard to do well. I guess. I mean, getting the face mask is probably the hardest thing. And maybe white loafers of some description, but no, certainly with your costume, just constructing it. Now, this is what I really am interested in, because not only is it a thing, as you say, it's an acting a portal to actually flex your acting muscles and all that, but there's like some skill, some applied skill involved in actually making the costume as well. So, how did you go about doing that? I mean, where do you start? I mean, did you look up videos or something, or what do you have ideas to say, I can use this thing as a chest plate? How did you?
So for creating it, was about a 3 or so month process.
Wow.
On and off. I started off with the idea because I knew Comic-Con was in October, and I knew I wanted to cosplay by then. And I had just moved back home with my parents. I had lived in an apartment for 2 years, and then some financial stuff happened, so I had to move back home to save some money. So I was home, and I was working out every day. I was probably in the best shape of my life at that point. And so I was like, well, if ever there's a time for me to cosplay as a character that's going to require some sort of physical fitness, now is that time. So
I'm just getting visions of David Finch, Moon Knight, Anthony.
No, I wasn't. No, see, I wasn't the jacked
Steroids.
Moon Knight.
No,
I was the Sienkiewicz,
Yep.
mensch, lithe, lean, fit, but not like. Not the overly muscled David Finch version. No. No HGH for me, thank you. But so it started off, like I said, with literally just looking at the comics for inspiration, and I had the floppies. That was all that I had to pull from, and so I was looking at individual panels and figuring out, okay. So I started with a black unitard that was basically the foundation for the suit. Because I said, all right, I'm going to make it black, and then I can put the white accents and the armor, so to speak, over the top of it. And my mother is very crafty. She's been crafting for years. She, sews, knits, works with beads. She did all sorts of stuff. So she and I looked at the comics and said, all right, what can we do to make these, the overlays and the chest plate and the shins and, the gauntlets on the wrist and so on. And so we came up with, I think it's like 1/4-inch foam. Mm-hmm. And so you can cut it and then you heat it to mold it to a particular shape that you want, and then you glue that onto the unitard. So that was a sort of a trial and error process, trying to figure out what would work best, what would look appropriate, what looked realistic. Again, for the chest pieces, and trying to figure out all of the little crescent shapes and how to get the crescent shapes and also mold them around my arms and my legs. The side where there's like this crescent along the side of the hip. That was kind of a challenge to try and figure out how to mold it around my ass. And then the cape was a fun exercise in craft measurements and trying to figure out, how we were going to attach it to the neck, and then how long we wanted it to be. I mean, and how to get it sort of billowing around.
Yeah, I mean that's a really I wouldn't say like a make or break, but that's an important aspect and a really hard thing to do, because what I'd imagine is in the comics, the cape and the hood kind of always look pretty cool, but in reality, trying to get that happening would be a very difficult thing, right?
There is a surprising amount of math involved in cosplay, and it's funny because now we're in the time of year where I go and I look back every day on my Facebook memories, and so I see pictures of like some of the making of,
nice,
the in progress stuff that I had been posting. And I was like, man, I remember that. I remember that time. Yeah. It was a fun time. And then the hood, similarly out of the cloth. And then the mask itself was fairly straightforward. There's just a black balaclava, basically, full.
How did you do the eye? The eyes like that?
The eyes were, there was a screen material that we used. So we cut it. I basically used, I looked at basically how to make like Spider-Man mask eyes, and then just cut it to the appropriate shape that I wanted it. And then I put like a little bit of the white foam, I think, around the eyes, just to sort of frame it. And then, while we're talking, I'm actually going into my, my pictures, so I can see
how comfortable was it, like walking around in it? Like,
it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
Because I'm thinking like the foam, the molded foam around you. Did you have to be careful? I mean, obviously you can't go doing massive strides, I think, unless of course it's quite sturdy.
Well, like I said, it's something that it was a unitard, so it was fairly comfortable.
But I mean,
I had underwear on underneath. So, so I'm looking at the pictures now. The thing that I don't want to say regret, but whatever, is if you look at the original, if you look at Declan Shalvey and you look at the footwear that Moon Knight has. The way the shoes were, or the way his footwear was made, there's like a front part that's white, but then the midpoint of the foot to the heel and everything is black. And so I was like, I don't really know how to make that look accurate, because I wanted to make it look like it stepped off the page, and the only thing that I could find that looked appropriate was Crocs.
That's what I was about to say.
And so I wore fucking Crocs for the Moon Knight cosplay, and to this day something that I'm like, I wish I could have found something else.
Well, I was about to say, Anthony, because I was just having a little look at my Marvel Legends figure as well, and it does look like he wears Crocs as well. So I think you've hit it right on the nail there. Like, that's probably the closest thing that you can come up with, short of actually colouring in, I don't know, some boots at the back or something.
Yeah, so short of literally hand creating my own footwear, which I was not about to do. That was a line that I just was not going to cross. It was like I said, it was a lot of math involved, a lot of sewing. I still remember the smell of the foam and the glue gun because I spent hours at my parents' kitchen table. My parents' kitchen table was covered in my cosplay for months on end, because we were just like, well, we'll just eat dinner in the living room, then watching TV, which we mostly did anyway. But I was just like, I'm sorry, I need the space to work on the cosplay. And I mean, I was single. I didn't have a kid then, so that was how I spent my free time.
Did you have Did you have like accessories, like weapons and stuff? Did you?
I had. I think I had Velcroed. I had some crescent darts along the hip that I could pull off. They had a little piece of Velcro on them, so I could pull them off and throw them. If I so chose.
Yeah.
But for the most part, that was it. Yeah. Oh, and did I have something else? Do you
have a staff or a truncheon?
I think I had a truncheon. I think I had a truncheon.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is basically just like a piece of PVC pipe.
Yeah.
Just very straightforward.
Yeah.
No staff, because I don't think they would have allowed me into the Comic-Con with that, or they would have had to put, there's all restrictions on weapons and stuff.
Yeah,
so I wanted something very, very simple and basic. So
yeah. I mean, we don't have like big conventions over here, but we do have a couple every now and again. This is again pre-COVID. And I remember on the news once they pulled up a guy. He was waiting at the train station. He was fully decked out as Deadpool, and he had like the katanas, and he had like fake guns and stuff. And the police actually came up to him, just questioned him, and he said, "Yeah, I'm going to a Comic-Con." But I thought that was pretty funny how like. I mean, it's potentially kind of pretty dangerous. People walking around with potential weapons, maybe.
Yeah, especially in New York City. Yeah. Obviously, if somebody's walking around the streets with weapons and swords strapped to them, they get a side eye. But if it's the first week in October every year, all of a sudden, everybody goes, "Oh, this is just Comic-Con."
That's another Comic-Con.
This is when the weirdos come out of their parents' basement. So
did you
dressing up like that?
Did you again? I'm only thinking because of like COVID again. Comfort with the mask on. Did you find after a few like half an hour or so you had to kind of take it off, or how was it like kind of walking around? Were you in character the whole time, or?
I did some stuff in character, and then I was walking around just sort of. Because I was still going around, I wanted to do all my regular Comic-Con things. I just wanted to do them like as Moon Knight, or while wearing a costume. So it was pretty cool. I got to meet. I think that year was the year that I met. Jim Starlin.
Oh wow! Jeez.
Yeah, he was there. I got him to sign. The Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, nice, awesome! Wow, holy moly!
So it was 2012. It was 2012. So so I got to. Was it 2012? Was that the year?
2012. Wow.
No, I'm sorry. No, 2013. It was 2013.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. 2014. I'm sorry. I'm looking through my pictures now.
Yeah.
I met Doug Mensch that year.
Oh, cool. How was he?
He was at the Marvel booth. I only got to meet him like very, very briefly.
Okay.
So it wasn't anything that I got to spend a lot of time with. But I met Jim Starlin as Moon Knight, so that was cool.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm looking through my photos now, and I do see somebody else, a picture of somebody else dressed as the Shalvey Moon Knight. So we got our picture taken together.
Oh, okay. Wow. The same.
I'll send them to you. So
okay. Can we post?
You
can I post
add
them?
to I met Bill Sienkiewicz as Moon Knight.
That's awesome. Far out. I'd love to speak.
I think I met Brian Michael Bendis as Moon Knight, or I met him that year.
Oh, man.
But I did not have him sign the Moon Knight run.
Yeah. All right, Brian. I think I'll take a hard pass. Thank you. I'll get signed for you. No.
I had him sign something else because I was just.
Oh, Daredevil. Who's fantastic. Daredevil. Spider-Woman's fantastic as well. So with other cosplayers, like again, my knowledge is very limited, but I'm only going off the back of the Australian Comic Cons we have here. Is there any provision for cosplayers to convene during the convention? And because they have that over here, there's like a pre-meet thing, I think, where they open the invitation to cosplayers to, they're all meeting at this particular place. You can kind of like meet other cosplayers. Is that the same over there, or
they do have a lot of that?
Yeah.
in New York Comic Con, there's always cosplay contests. Marvel has a big, at their booth. They always have a big cosplay contest, which I entered as Moon Knight. So that was fun. I don't remember who won, but they basically have you come up on stage and.
So you went up on stage as well?
I got to go up on stage.
Cool.
Yeah, I was waiting in line with a guy who basically he went as Matt Murdock.
Okay.
And I mean, I'll send you the picture because I got it. I got pictures with him as well. He is the spitting image of like Matt Murdock. Really? He's got the red hair. He had the sunglasses, the cane, the whole bit.
This was pre Netflix, right? So he's doing the comic version of Matt Murdock.
Yeah, this was 2014. I think I think Daredevil had maybe season 1 had come out.
Oh, was it? Okay, right. Jeez.
Or it was about to come out. So,
maybe it was Charlie Cox. Bugger.
Yeah, it wasn't Charlie Cox,
Okay.
but no, it was super fun. But so I got to go up on the Marvel stage, and so they give you like 15 seconds, whatever, to do anything. So I go up there, and I throw a couple fists, and then I start looking around, and I remember like grabbing my head and going
nice.
Khonshu!
Nice.
So
Actually,
sort of racked with psychoses or whatever.
Actually, Khonshu would be I don't know. Have you seen any bird skull people like?
Oh yes,
I have.
Not
Wow.
in person, but I have seen people dressed. I have seen like pictures of people online cosplaying as Khonshu. With the skull, I saw somebody cosplay as from issue 3 or 4 of the Shabby run where Moon Knight is decked out in the bones and the skull.
Wow.
I saw somebody cosplay as that Moon Knight. I was like,
moly.
fuck, that's amazing.
I was
like, that's dedication right there,
cool.
son. That's nuts.
I mean, like realistically, it works in a comic book, but like to see that, that'd be really hard to pull off. My God.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's one of the things where, even for the show, I'm like, I wonder what they're going to do to make the costume look realistic. Because I think they've done an amazing job in the MCU so far of translating costumes to something that works, that doesn't look stupid, and cartoony.
Yeah, look, I'm going to give it.
The Netflix series, I thought got it. Very
Netflix
done,
was.
with Daredevil and stuff.
Daredevil's costume's awesome, and that was admittedly the only real costume. If you count the season 2 with Iron Fist, we did get the yellow mask, but albeit in like a blast from the past kind of flashback thing. But that would be. That would be really cool. I want to give a shout out to one of the other loonies we've had on the show as well, Caden Batera. He's a filmmaker. He has done a second fan film. It's actually on the Prowler, Hobie Brown, but it has Moon Knight in it. And his Moon Knight costume is really cool. So if you have any reservations that the Disney Plus will have problems with the costume, Caden has proven them wrong. A really cool one there. I might try to shoot up an image of that. Really, really good stuff, and it's a classic one as well. I think it's just with slight modifications, a bit of armor here and there, but really, really good stuff. So I guess also as well, Anthony, just asking. So this was your first. Was this your first cosplay as Moon Knight?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the first cosplay, yep.
And so you got a taste for it as well. You mentioned just recently... Sorry, you mentioned Misty, Pikachu, and what did you cosplay?
I was Ash.
Ash, as in Evil Dead?
Ash Ketchum, yeah. No, Ash Ketchum from Pokemon.
Okay, sorry, I don't know Pokemon. I actually was assuming it was Misty Knight, Pokemon, Pikachu, and someone else.
Ash and Misty from Pokemon.
Right.
And then, my son, we got him in a little Pikachu costume. So
nice. So obviously you've got the taste for it. Apart from Pokemon, what other cosplays would you love to do if you had the opportunity?
Oh my goodness. I would love to do Captain America as my other favorite character.
Mm-hmm. Which there's so many versions though. Which version?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think the MCU version is probably, easier to pull off just from a design standpoint. But I'd love to try and see if I could do something comics accurate. I would really have to bulk up for that.
Capwolf?
The other
Capwolf? Is that just throwing it out there?
I don't think I'll be going as Capwolf, although I'm fairly certain if I did go as Capwolf, I would be the only Capwolf cosplayer at that Comic-Con, potentially in history. The other fun idea that I've had, and this is like semi-obscure, is I don't know how familiar you are with the comedian Eddie Izzard.
Yes, yeah.
He does the whole bit about Darth Vader on the Death Star in the Death Star canteen, and it's hilarious. Anyway, somebody did put a Lego version of Darth Vader. They took his skit and then they made a stop motion video with Legos to the soundtrack. So they're sort of playing it out, with Darth Vader talking to this hapless Death Star canteen worker. And I would love to cosplay, and this is totally obscure, and I don't know how many people at the con would even get it, but as a Lego Darth Vader with a name tag that says, "My name is Jeff," and walk around with a lunch tray, a wet lunch tray, just to see the 3 people at the convention that would understand that reference.
I was about to say, surely there'll be someone there that will.
I'm sure somebody there would be like, "Oh my God, you're Jeff Vader."
Yeah.
That's Jeff Vader. He's head of catering. No, I'm Darth Vader. I can kill you with a thought. For I'm the Dark Lord of the Force, which is very strong within me. I could kill you with this lunch tray. I could hack at your neck until the little bits of blood come out. It's a hilarious bit. Go check it out on YouTube.
Nice.
That would be the inspiration for an obscure, because that's who I am as a person. I want to go obscure, and then see if there's anybody there that gets it. Somebody the one year at Comic-Con went as Snowflame, and I don't know if you're familiar with the character Snowflame.
No.
He was from I want to say Teen Titans.
Okay.
Very controversial character. He only made an appearance in one issue. This is 1982, 83. Pretty sure this is pre-crisis. He gets powers by snorting cocaine.
Oh, wow.
I'm not making that up.
Wow.
I'm not making that up.
Snowflame. Wow.
Snowflame. He's he worships some Central American or South American god, and he gets his powers from cocaine.
Wow.
And so somebody went to Comic-Con as Snowflame, and every time somebody recognized them, they went the power, or something like that, whatever it was, they snorted a line off their hand and went into a rage, and I was like, holy shit, this is nuts.
It would be,
like I said, something like that where you just you want, I don't know, I would love to get obscure stuff that nobody cosplays as.
It would be a buzz for you and for them, I think, because can you imagine, if you happen to be a fan of, say, Snowflame, to see someone just walk through the door, you just be going, awesome, I'm not alone, and all that. So,
it's like Arrested Development. There are dozens of us, dozens.
Yeah.
Another just random one I would love to do would be Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, highly recognizable, I reckon. So yeah, that would be pretty cool.
And I remember one year I went to Comic-Con and somebody was cosplaying as the Macho Man, and they were in character, the full, I'm talking full blown. They had the cape,
yep.
They had the scepter, the crown, the whole thing, and the tassels and stuff. And they're, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's the Macho Man. Gonna snap into a Slim Jim. Dig it. So
I remember him far out.
Fun. That would be fun for me to do. Yeah, I would need to be in
to roid
very,
up.
very incredible shape. And talk about cocaine. I mean, I'd
exactly.
have to snort half a kilo just to get the energy needed. Oh, yeah, I'm the cream rising to the top.
I could probably supply you the sunnies, but that's probably about it for that costume. That's awesome. No, I mean that's great. Any chance of revisiting Moon Knight in the future, perhaps? Or
I have the costume. It is we vacuum sealed it, and I still have the costume and the Crocs.
the Crocs,
for better or worse, and so they're up in my attic right now. Maybe if I ever get back into shape, I don't know what the shape of the costume is at this point. Like I said, we vacuum sealed it. It's been sitting in a bag for years now, so maybe I might revisit the costume, or I might do a different take on the Moon Knight costume, or maybe Mr. Knight. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, we'll see.
When the pandemic
depends on what time and finances.
Yeah, exactly. And like when the pandemic kind of like eases, restrictions ease, and the show comes out as well. You're gonna have to carry that torch there, Anthony, and wear it. Nothing says kicking ass like a pair of Crocs as well. So so polish those bad boys.
That's the first time that sentence has ever been uttered in the history of the English language.
Yeah. Just shine those bad boys and slip them on. That'd be pretty cool. Anthony, a huge thank you for sharing with us your cosplaying experience. I'm glad to hear that there's many more, that sounds like, in the future, and potentially of Moon Knight as well. So absolutely keep us in the loop if there are any more developments. Even if you do the Randy Savage, I'd love to get that in and around our ITK group. But
make it happen.
But a huge thank you for sharing everything with us.
No problem. It's a joy as always. Love talking to you guys. Anytime. And if we're ever going to do another one of those like sidekicks episode where we kick you out and we rank. I know we ranked the artist. Whenever you want,
we're doing the writers.
Back and to do another train wreck of a shit show. And
I was about to say I might have to sit in on this one. If only just to keep tabs on you guys. But no, that's all right.
That was a shit show and a half.
Oh, that was fun. I laughed all the way to work on that. So that was really cool. Look. Before we mentioned on the top of the show as well, where can people find you on Capes on the Couch as well? Where's the best way to contact you and catch the show?
Well, our show is available on pretty much every podcatcher. I just got word we are now on the Amazon Music. I know that they just added podcasts, and my distributor allowed sort of a one-click, so you can find us now on the Amazon. But we're pretty much wherever you find podcasts, that's where we are. Just do a search for Capes on the Couch. Our website is capesonthecouch.live. You can go there and you can check out all of our episodes coming up on 100. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Capes on the Couch. Very active on Twitter. Fairly active on Facebook. Working on the Instagram part. That's the one that we are least active on. We have a Discord server as well, and I know that you do as well. So you can find our links pretty much in the show notes. The link to our Discord server is in the show notes to all of our episodes, so you can check that out. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/capesonthecouch. We have a TeePublic as well, so if you go to teepublic.com, you can search for Capes on the Couch, and you can find T-shirts, cups, everything with our logo. We've got a couple of different available options there.
Oh, I did see some designs at one of the. I don't know if it's like a new one now, but it came out recently. You had a redesign of your of Capes on the Couch. A friend of yours did the graphic design?
Yes. Emily, who is the daughter of Kate, the host of Ignorance Was Bliss, which is another fantastic show. Emily is a graphic designer, and she designed us. Why? Because comics, which is an expression that we use at least once an episode on our show to sort of explain some of the batshittery that happens in various stories that we cover. It's something that just is completely outlandish and can't really be explained. But why is it there? Because comics. So that's sort of it's our catchphrase for explaining all of the unexplainable. So I think that covers about everything. And want to also give a shout out to our fellow mental health Avengers, Popcorn Psychology, Pop Psych 101, Freudian Sips, and Guardians MH. We're actually going to be recording an episode later tonight where we're getting the mental health Avengers back together to discuss mental health and the prison system.
Wow,
and
okay.
We're going to get into defunding the police. We're going to get into recidivism. We're going to talk really heavy topics, which is what sort of, we discuss as the Mental Health Avengers. So looking forward to that. So you can check out all of our friends over there.
Yeah,
so.
I'd really have to endorse that as well. Like, I haven't actually, truth be told, I haven't caught any of the episodes, but I have seen them or heard them on the Mental Health Avengers that have popped up a couple of times on Capes on the Couch as well. Really interesting stuff. I urge you guys to check them out as well. Popcorn Psychology, they do it via movies, right? Instead of
yes,
comic
Popcorn
books.
Psychology covers movies. Pop Psych does sort of general movies, TVs, etc. Guardians MH covers video games. And Freudian Sips doesn't cover pop culture so much. They just more cover general psychology, but it's a mother-daughter combo. They're both therapists, and they're just a hoot and a half to listen to. So
yeah, I love it. I love the fact that it's tied into pop culture, because a lot of people obviously are very invested in pop culture, into what they like, their fandoms as well, and why not take it that step further and delve into, I guess, deeper subjects. So so check them all out as well. Again, everything will be in our show notes as well, and you can access things via the Capes on the Couch show notes too. So a big thank you to Anthony for joining. It's been a hoot. You can also catch Anthony as well. A last little shout out on our upcoming audio serial drama, episode 13, The Hunt for Khonshu's Golden Scepter. I think it's subtitled APEP is Coming. It's I can't remember, but it's a hoot. It's going to have Anthony in there as Senior Bob, and a couple of other characters there, Cold Case, Geronimo, and Serpent Mike. We'll see what happens to these guys that have been running around in the safe house, getting away from the agents of Set. So a lot of fun. You can catch Anthony there, as well as obviously Capes on the Couch, and go check it all out. It all out. I'm gonna have a doozy trying to choose which death. Oh, actually, hang on. Sorry, I shouldn't say anything. Anyway. Which of the options you've given me, Anthony? That's all I'm saying. Anyway, next phase, Loonies, episode 165. We are returning to a new comic book review, Avengers 36. That will be, I think it's part 4 of The Age of Khonshu, written by Jason Aaron, drawn by Javier Garron. Keep your eyes peeled out there. I'll hopefully have a co-host to help dissect this baby and see how we go with the second last part of this arc. So that will be next week on 165. Forget about the Phase of the Moon. It's a new book, so new comic book, so we're doing that. Finally, Patronies, as always, or Patreon members, please consider becoming a Patreon member or a Patronie. Patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. Check it all out. Some bonuses and incentives there. You too can catch Anthony and I go grabbing a refreshment. It's well worth your while. Actually, having said that, it doesn't sound like that at all. Anyway, no, it's a lot of fun, a lot of bonus content. Sponsored by also Hello Headphones, as I said at the top of the show. Please use code ITK Moon Knight to get 10% off their online store. Go pick up yourself another pair of headphones, or check out Dreamland Comics. Use the code MOON and get a big 20% off your back issues if you want to top up your Moon Knight collection. If you want to get your obscure Moon Knight appearances or cameos, go check out Dreamland Comics. They're the ones for you. Also, affiliate members, Entertainment Earth. See if you can get your Walgreens Moon Knight from there. I don't know if you can, but there's a whole lot of other great stuff there as well. I've got my eye on Spider-Man, the animated series figures, which look really good indeed. And finally, the Collective. We're part of the Collective. Please check out not only Anthony's show as well, the Capes on the Couch. They are Collective adjacent, of course, but also check out the other shows such as EMP, Earth's Mightiest Podcast, or I Am Your Target Demographic on YouTube, or, of course, our good friends Inner Demons, a Ghost Rider podcast. And, of course, you can catch us or contact us. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know if you're a cosplayer as well. Let us know if you have had any fun anecdotes cosplaying, meeting any of the industry greats, or actually interacting with other cosplayers. Email us on itkmoonknight@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook on the page, and we have a group. We're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, Get Vocal. We have a website. As mentioned, we're on Patreon, and we're on Podchaser as well. Speaking of Podchaser, if you want to leave a review, please be so kind as to do so on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. It just helps us get out there a little bit more. Once again, Anthony, a huge thank you. You've got a big day ahead. It's the start of the day for you. It's the end of the night for me.
Yeah, it's always interesting and fun chatting with you, literally across the other side of the world. And God bless technology for letting us do this. Yeah. But you need some sleep. Frankly, I do too. I did not sleep that great last night. My son slept through the night. It wasn't his fault. Oh, good. Okay. It was just brain weasels.
Brain weasels, so restless thoughts, stuff like that. I don't know, restless legs. Eve has restless legs, my partner, so I thought I'd just share that. I don't know why. Anyway, a big thank you, Anthony.
My wife snores, so yeah.
Let's share with our loonies, as always. Make Country watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.